What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. In today's episode of Ludus, we're doing kind of a hybrid video sort of thing. Yeah. So what I want to do is I want to be able to explain the perk system a little bit to everybody. I'm just going to do brief summary and overview of all of it. It will take me way too long to explain every little minute detail of the perk system. And to be honest, it'll be extremely boring. And the last time I did a super long video that was just me talking, it did not get received very well. So with that said, I'm just going to go into the details of the perks, what you should and should not do. And then I'll show you my new lineup that has Monkey King in it that I'm super excited about because I finally got him to level 13. And I've been dicking around with the perk system on him. And I found one that I really like. So going into the perk system, there are 46 legendaries in the game right now. 46. And there are 26 perks in the game currently. By the end of all of this and everything else, the Ludus developers want to be able to release a card with a perk once a month or twice a month or something like that. I don't really know how many they want to release a month, but they want every single legendary card to have a perk. Before the perk system dropped, this game was solely based off of might percentage and the level of your cards. The phrase levels matter came from that deal alone. You basically went with the same 5 cards and periodically you'd splash in one of the new ones to see if it'd work or not. And then you'd be disappointed because it didn't do as well, or Griffin killed it within 2 seconds, so you didn't get a chance to use it. And everything else in between, and it was just a cacophony of craziness back at that time. When the perk system dropped, it made the game wonky. A lot of things went south very, very quickly. But they pulled the parachute, we reeled ourselves back, we got it all worked out, and we started figuring out the perk system. Now, one of the main things that went wrong was a lot of people leveled up their perks very, very quickly without leveling up the cards to follow that, if that makes sense. So if someone had a max level tech golem, for instance, they would max out the tech golem armor plating, and then the rest of their cards were level 10s. They had one level 15 because they focused tech golem all the way up to level 15, and then they had level 10s the rest of the way. So they'd have a tech golem that was unkillable, but they would be fighting everything under the clear blue sky that was all red perks. So they would still die because they were under leveled for the fight. So this is how the perk system goes in regards to levels. Perk level 1 to 39, the legendary hero has to be level 7. For level 40 to 59 for the perk, the hero has to be level 8. 60 to 79 level for the perk, the hero has to be level 9. 80 to 99 level, the hero has to be level 12, and for level 100, your hero has to be level 15. A lot of this is super straightforward. Level up your legendary heroes, then you can level up your runes. But I don't recommend going and just blowing a shit ton of money on one card, getting its perk all the way to level 100, and then you expect it's going to be an easy freaking week because you're going to be just destroying the ladder. No, you will get destroyed. There is a thing in this game, it's called balance. And the higher you jump up the ladder, the higher your might is, the higher your perk levels are, and all this other good shit, the higher chance you have of fighting a full red perk lineup bot that will destroy you within seconds. So, the way I explain this to people as best as I possibly can, stick within your lane. Okay, so if your lane is you're brand new to the game, you've got 5 legendaries, but all 5 legendaries are level 7. Fantastic. Keep all 5 legendaries at level 7. Work the perks to, level 39. Get that in there. Learn the fundamentals, and then take 2 epics. 2 epics. And I highly recommend those 2 epics be Bastion and Electric Mage. These 2. Genie is okay, but mainly just for faction buff week. Genie's kind of fallen off a lot in the last, 6 months. Genie's a good option too, but take Bastion and Electric Mage for sure to max level. Work those epics up there, because those will be level 14 heroes. Then, immediately following that, then start working those 5 legendary heroes. But make sure your Bastion and Electric Mage are on the field, or on your lineup. That way you can work your cards up that way. This is what I did in the first stages, and I failed. I didn't know too much about the game when I first started, like everybody else in this world. So I was just leveling stuff up to level stuff up, and I was just spreading my seed across the board. Yeah, that was a mistake. So if I was to start over again, if I was to create a baby account and stuff like that, what essentially I would do is I'd pick up Tech Golem, I'd pick up Gunslinger. I would work Bastion to level... let's see here. I think I would take Bastion to level 10. I'd take Electric Mage to level 10. I would have Tech Golem, Gunslinger, and possibly Genie. Yeah, most likely Genie. Because I'd have my damage dealer be Gunslinger and Electric Mage. I would take Gunslinger and Tech Golem to level 9. Then I would wait. I would start working on the runes, getting the runes up to the level I need them to be at, just those 2. And then wait. Not going any higher, not going any lower. Work the epics to probably level 13. And then do a jump up past that. Basically, what you need to do with the perk levels, and this is my assumption, or this is not my assumption. This is my perception. This is my way of thinking, and it may not fit your style, and that is okay. Whatever I say here, it may not fit your play style, and I want to make that abundantly clear. You may be that person who wants to jump everything all the way up. That's fine. If you want to do that, that's fine. But the reason I recommend doing what I just recommended doing is because in that time of working up your epics, you're setting yourself up for success in the grand tournament. And then as you're working your legendary heroes, you're learning the fundamentals of the game, and you're also learning what the perks do. It's super straightforward just to read a damn perk and go, oh, well, this can work on anybody that has this perk slot. No. There's a perk called Shield of Faith. It is an energy using perk, but if you pop it onto Jelly Knight, it won't fucking work. It's the same thing with Buddy. I have popped into multiple games where I've seen Shield of Faith on Jelly Knight or Buddy, and I kind of slap my own forehead because I'm like, that's an easy win because you just wasted a perk. It doesn't work. It needs to use an energy using ability, and Buddy and Jelly Knight do not use energy. So it's learning the perk system. It's learning the ins and outs. It's getting to navigate those waters. So, for all the new players out there, you are not going to have Astral Heroes, or all of them. And if you do have the Astral Heroes, great. You're not that new of a player, so you know the fundamentals. So I can break this down. If you're brand new to the game, vis-a-vis being involved in the last month to 2 months, guaranteed you don't have Pirate Queen. And if you do, you've been a casual, and that's great. But let me go down through the perks that I think are going to be most beneficial for you. Tech Golem's armor plating. Tech Golem is one of the first cards you get, so you want to work that armor plating up. Mako's Bulwark is the most amazing defensive card out of all of the defensive perks. It is sustainability. It is HP increase. It is glorious, needless to say. I have Bulwark on every single one of my lineups. It is requirement to survive in my eyes. And then Shield of Faith, which is Paladins. Shield of Faith is very, very good. At level 60, it gets amazing. And at level 100, it becomes pretty freaking fantastic. At level 100, once per round, after suffering a lethal blow while buffed by Shield of Faith, the hero survives and gains a regular shield equal to 40% of their max HP. You combine that with any restoration deal, such as Valkyrie's ability to bring them back from the dead, Morbid Charm, which is the faction buff week thing, or Onslaught being max level. That's pretty intense. Let's just put it that way. So those are the 3 main squares to work on. Shield of Faith, armor plating, Bulwark. Scorched Earth is good, it is a solid choice, especially if you're going for pure damage. So ultimately, look at it this way. Pick one defensive perk and then Scorched Earth. Work those two squares up. Work them up to at least level 59. At level 59, you're going to be able to have it unlocked, or the battle prowess unlocked at level 15, and the duration increased. That's great. You don't need to go up a whole lot higher than that if you don't plan on using Scorched Earth very often. But this is a good back pocket perk. It is great for Grand Tournament. It is fantastic for climbing the arena ladder. So don't sleep on Scorched Earth, but just note the shield perks are a lot more important. They play a bigger role the higher you go up on the ladder. Lightning Reactor is Iron Tony's perk. Iron Tony is an astral hero. So if you weren't playing during the time of Iron Tony, this section does not apply to you. If you have Iron Tony and Lightning Reactor is still under level 20 or under level 60, please take my words of advice. Work this card up perk up as high as you possibly can get it. I am grabbing every freaking Iron Tony copy I can find to get him to level 15 so I can have him have the perk be max level. Because at level 100, Lightning Wave drains enemies for 500 energy. That on top of the 2-second stun makes it to where a lot of cards cannot beat what's in front of them because the tank is too tanky and it keeps zapping their energy. You combine this with a Kitsune, life becomes a lot harder for your opponent. So something to really look into. Yeah, that's the end of that speech for the squares. Now, to diamonds. If you have not picked up Chief, do not fret. He is brand freaking new. He's only been out for a couple of weeks. I just got Chief like a week or earlier this week. I think actually a few days ago. I actually don't think I've had Chief for very long. Yeah, I've had him for about a week. And it wasn't until the Black Friday deal that I was able to actually level him up. But that said, Unity is one of the most powerful perks for an astral hero. Yes, it's very, very good on all the other cards. It is fantastic for any card because all it is just increasing damage and giving a whole lot of HP. But if you do not have a full lineup of the same faction, so like if you don't have a full Legion or a full Alliance Light, you are wasting this perk. On a astral hero who is omni-factional, they have to have the Astral Impulse active and they have to be omni-factional for this to work. Unity on one of them will apply to every card on the field regardless of those cards' factions. Omni-factional means that it's a member of every single faction. So, when Unity is on an astral hero who is omni-factional, it is spreading to everything around it on your team regardless of their faction. So keep this in the forefront of your mind. If you can, pick up Chief as soon as possible. If you can, pick up every copy of Chief to get him to at least level 9. At minimum, level 9. So that way you can get level 60, which is max HP bonus for same faction allies increased to 5%. The 5% may not seem like a lot, but it is day and night kind of game change. So just keep this in mind, because this is 5% off of any other buffs that are coming along the way. So focus Unity if you can. Outside of Unity, Onslaught is the next diamond perk that is worth the money. Onslaught, Griffin. Griffin is phenomenal. Griffin has been in the top 3 of the meta for the last year. There is no bringing Griffin down. He is still one of the top competitors for the best card in the game. Onslaught at max level. Once per round, rises from the dead with 50% of max HP and 50% of energy if killed on the enemy's half of the board. That's pretty great. Just so you know. I've lost multiple fights because of this fucking perk. I can't say anything against that. Now, if you don't have it level 100, don't fret. Because it's fantastic at level 20. It's fantastic at level 60. It's a destructive perk with a massive upside. You get dodge chance. Dodge chance is phenomenal. You slap this perk on a Griffin or on a Pirate Queen or on a Tony, or on a Monkey King or on anything that's going on the front row that's going to cross over to the opponent's side, it makes them better. So you Onslaught, work it. Now, following that, we have another Astral, Pirate Queen. Pirate Queen's Shark Tornado is awesome. It does its job beautifully. At level 100 is when it becomes the most... It's the stupidest perk. It hurts. Let's just put it that way. The tornado stuns enemies for 1 second. That's 1 second being inside the tornado. So if the tornado clips it, they're stunned for a second. But if they're pushed all the way back to the fucking wall or over in the corner and that tornado sitting on top of them, they're stunned the whole fucking time. Plus, they're getting their energy drained from the level 60 upgrade. Plus, the tornado's triggering every 10 seconds. So give me a break for once in your damn life, Shark Tornado, and leave my backline alone. I'm traumatized from this thing. The thing has messed me up so many times. I don't know what else to do. But this is one of the most fantastic perks in the game because of the Shark Tornado being able to do the stun, because of the energy drain, and because it triggers every 10 seconds. It is fantastic. Pyromaniac is one of the newer perks to enter into the game. It is Firestarter's perk, and this one is situational, but amazing. Now, Pyromaniac reads, losing a shield or getting killed deals 342% of heroes damage to nearby allies. This one is crazy, but not so crazy. It's handy, but useless. It is everywhere across the board that you could possibly think of, because you need this to be on a shield using card. You need this to be a part of the team some way, shape, or form, that you're not only doing the or gets killed portion of the perk. So what I highly recommend doing with this one is pairing it with Shield of Faith. Using an energy costing ability, cast a 10-second shield on self to 32.4% of the hero's HP. But this is that's where it's good, is it every time you use an energy costing ability. So cards like Monkey King, cards like Griffin, cards like Iron Tony use their energy or use their abilities so quickly that it constantly triggers. So every time that shield breaks, every time that shield falls, you have Pyromaniac right there increasing the damage being dealt back to them because of the fact that it is blowing up and doing a whole bunch of fire on the ground. Like, that's pretty fantastic. You can also pair Pyromaniac with Shield of Faith and Aqua. Another reason to use the Aqua card. Aqua's very good, but it's situational at best. This is where that would apply. So if you have an Iron Tony, I invite you to try using Pyromaniac, Shield of Faith on Tony, and then slap Aqua onto the board. And speaking of Aqua, use Aqua Vitae. We'll get to that here in a minute. But use that combination. It's a really fun combination. Black Knight, the leader of Canada A, threw that out there. I did give it a try, and it was hilarious watching Tony get shield after shield after shield, and then just seeing the damage coming from Pyromaniac as it triggered. It was really fun, and I do recommend that you give that a go. High explosives and ricochet are great, but they are situational at best. They basically are fillers. If you've used up all 4 diamonds already, and you have another diamond available, then you can use these ones. That's just my recommendation. Moving on. The circle perks. Landmine, Aqua Vitae, Singularity, Deadly Swamp. Those are the main 4. There are 7 here, but those are the main 4. Landmine is the #1 perk in the game. No one can tell me different. Singularity is very good, and I'll get to that in a minute. But Incendiary Landmine is the #1 perk in the game, and no one can tell me different. The reason for that, level 99 is where my Landmine sits. When I go into a fight with someone who has multiple red perks, someone who is 1,000% might higher than me, or anything that I am backed up against the wall, my feet are dangling because I'm held up by my throat, the only way I get out of that situation and win is because of Landmine. Strategically placing Landmine where I am destroying a majority of the board before it can even get to me. That's why Landmine is the #1 perk in the game. It will change the tide of battle. Singularity does well, but cards tend to come back from that one. They don't fucking come back from Incendiary Landmine. Now, at level 100, targets set on fire by incendiary landmine cannot gain energy. You combine that with Hocus Pocus and Kitsune, or Gambler. Gambler or Kitsune, someone who's going to steal the energy from your girl. That is what this purpose is for landmine. Getting that initial impact, making sure they can't gain energy, getting in that Kitsune to where the Kitsune can get her ability off before they can, and successfully lock down any and all ability using moments. That's the purpose. That's why it's so damn good. No one can tell me different, and you can try, but you will fail. Incendiary Landmine, #1 perk in the game. Following that, we have Deadly Swamp, which is Witch's perk. Deadly Swamp is fantastic. At level 100, enemies in the swamp have a 15% chance to turn into toads for 3 seconds. That is not too bad. However, level 60, at the 15 seconds of each round, creates another swamp at the same location for 10 seconds. At level 20, enemies in the swamp get Incurable Wound. Incurable Wound means they cannot be healed from Angel, Druid, or any other support. They cannot be healed from the regen of Aquavitae or Ray of Light. Something to keep in mind. Incurable or Deadly Swamp is one of the best perks for taking out tanks, for taking out all of the ads from, say, like Muertus Skeletons, Jelly Knights Slime, Mummy Warriors Dogs, Pirate Queens Ship Pirates, stuff like that. This Deadly Swamp takes them out super quick because it is a percentage of heroes damage per second. You slap this on a Muerta, on an Evilite, on a Witch, anything that's of high level, this is going to do a whole lot of damage to a lot of frontliners. So this helps attack the front, it helps maintain that damage, plus it also comes back after 15 seconds. So you get 5 seconds. 5 seconds where there is no Deadly Swamp. That's 5 seconds where they feel comfortable, they move forward, and all of a sudden, bam, swamp, they're dead. So Deadly Swamp, something to look into as well. Aquavitae, the #1 support perk in the game, in my opinion, and it's going to stay that way for a while. At level 100, Aquavitae also restores 150 energy. Not that great, but using an energy costing ability, restores 3 allies. At level 60, it'll be 4 allies, 17.8% of HP. You slap Aquavitae onto an Iron Tony who has Shield of Faith and Unity, or Pyromaniac, and you have an Iron Tony who is your greatest healer. He is your greatest tank. He is a tanky healer. And this has saved me so many times throughout the games. Multiple times I should have died. But because I got Aquavitae to trigger, it gave me that extra 2 seconds to get an ability off and destroy the opponent. Aquavitae, very, very useful. Aqua herself may not be, but her perk sure as fuck is. Singularity. Singularity and I have a very back and forth relationship. Singularity is super, super good. It has helped me win fights. It's also helped me take out problematic cards on the opponent's side. But Singularity does not pair well with other column damage dealing perks. One of which is Eldritch Horror, which we'll get to here in a minute. Landmine doesn't sit well with Singularity. Now, that said, if you are blessed enough to have Singularity on 2 rows, and I'm going to use, I'll use the buff pattern thing here. So if you have Singularity here, Singularity here and here, okay? There's nothing on the opponent's side here. And you put the landmine right here, Singularity will trigger, taking this out and this out. The landmine will plop on the ground, and it will stay there until the people come back, or until the cards come back from the Singularity Dark Dimension thing. They come back, they're weak, they trigger the landmine goes and explodes on them, they all die because they're weak from the Singularity. That works great. But if you have Singularity here, and the opponent has cards right here, the landmine goes off, or goes here, it sits on the ground. One of these cards that moves forward is going to trigger the landmine, and it's going to only kill these ones here. The ones that are in the Singularity Dark Dimension will not feel the effects of the landmine, as they are not on the board at that time. They will come back, but they will have missed the activation of the landmine. So that does not work together. Singularity and landmine do not work together. So you want to single row this shit. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to have landmine here, so it can take out this section here. You want Singularity right here. Okay, so this is how this works. You want a 3x3 area from landmine, because that's how landmine works at level 20. So you want landmine to be able to take out this section here. You want Singularity right here, so Singularity can take out this row here, leaving only 7 slots available that aren't being touched. If you can, do landmine, Singularity, Singularity. That way, Singularity is on 2 rows next to each other that aren't being touched by landmine, and landmine is in A and B, taking out a 3x4 area. So this section here gets taken out with landmine. These 2 columns here get Singularity. That is a very good way of running Singularity and landmine together. It has won me multiple games and helped me climb the Astral Rift multiple times to get to those chests, to get to those golden runes, to get to grinding. So I have 11 runes because of that. So that is the way you want to run Singularity and landmine together. And last but certainly not least is the hexagons. Eldritch Horror, Lightning Reflexes, Fortification, and Soul Harvest. The main 4 hexagons you want to work. Honorable mention goes to Daydreams from Snoozemander. Excuse me, I had some burping there. Snoozemander's Daydreams is a very good perk, but it is also one of those ones where if you've already used up the main 4 and you have 1 more slot, throw in Daydreams. It is the cherry on top. It is not the cake itself, it is just the cherry. Eldritch Horror. At the start of each round, cast 3 seconds of fear on enemies in a straight line, or in its line. Enemies debuffed by Eldritch Horror's fear effect take 167% of heroes' damage. At level 60, when fear wears off, apply stun for 2 seconds. Eldritch Horror combined with landmine on the same card, spell victory. And I can't stress that enough. That's the reason why I have them both on Evil Eye. Evil Eye's damage is 698,000 at level 13. I can only assume that it gets a whole hell of a lot better at level 15. I'm assuming it's a little over 800,000. So if you have Eldritch Horror and landmine on top of that, that is a destructive cocktail that I would love to watch and have watched a couple of times and died to. Eldritch Horror, fantastic. Pair that with landmine, pair this with Deadly Swamp. Anything that they can run into aimlessly and take damage over time, that is pretty fantastic. Lightning Reflexes makes every damn card better because it increases the hero's attack speed by 128% at 99. At level 100, it increases their attack speed by 130%. At level 100, it grants immunity to control effects. So basically, you can have Lightning Reflexes on Griffin and Monkey King next to that. And if Lightning Reflexes is level 100, you have 2 Monkey Kings, basically. Griffin becomes a Monkey King. It's pretty fantastic. Oh, also, at level 60, it increases movement speed by 30%. So this helps negate, or helps cards like Griffin move a whole hell of a lot faster. If they're getting shot backwards from Gambler, they're going to get shot backwards, hit the wall, and immediately jump into the fight. They're coming back instantaneous. That's how fast they move. Makes Kitsune work a whole hell of a lot better. This perk, Lightning Reflexes, is top 3 in my opinion. In my eyes, it is Landmine, Onslaught, Lightning Reflexes. And until something better comes along, that's where I'm sitting with those, because those 3 can make any card look great. That's where I sit with those 3. You also have Soul Harvest and Fortification. Fortification is Vulcan's perk. Vulcan is still new enough that I haven't worked with him too much, but I have leveled him up to be able to get Fortification to level 79. Now, as you can tell, I still need to get Vulcan to level 12, so I can take it to level 99. But Fortification is, in my eyes, a get or come and go kind of perk. It is a take it or leave it kind of thing. I primarily use it as a defensive buff for my Muerta and my Evil Eye, or my backline in general. So fortification at the start of each round, it creates a small shielded area around the card for 15 seconds. Allies within it take 68.4% less damage. So this only sticks in one area. So say, let's go back to buff patterns here. So say you have fortification right here. Or let's say you have fortification right here in the gray spot where our hero sits. It's going to take out this, or it's going to keep this 3x3 area safe, but the card's going to move away from it if they're moving. So I've had this on Monkey King. I've had it on Pirate Queen. I have had it on Griffin at one point. I've moved it around quite a bit to see it, but they move away, or as they move forward, the circle stays the same. So I generally tend to have Muerta here and Evil Eye here, so that way the fortification circle can keep them safe. Basically, they're taking damage already from a landmine, from an Eldritch Horror, from a Singularity, something. So when they come back from Singularity, or they're running around because they're feared, or because of something, fortification is there keeping them safe, making it, or ignoring a giant chunk of damage, 68.4% of their damage, so they can maintain their survivability and stay in the fight a little bit longer, helping change the tide. Soul Harvest is my favorite hexagon perk. It used to be Eldritch Horror. Soul Harvest has taken that position. At level 20, Soul Harvest restores the user HP equal to damage dealt. At level 60, it now works at any range. So basically, a card is getting attacked every time because it continuously deals 35.6% of hero's damage per second to one nearby enemy. I can put this on fucking anybody, and it will sit there and do damage left, right, and center. I've considered putting Soul Harvest on Evil Eye just to see what the fuck happens. I'm curious, and I might wind up doing it one day, but I also think it'll be a waste of the perk. I think the Soul Harvest goes very well on melee special perk or cards, so that way they can stay in the fight a little bit longer, be a little bit of a distraction, and allow the back line to be able to do what they need to do without being completely taking. So that's that for me. And that is the end of the game, or that is the end of the perks. Let's look at the card lineup, see what we get, or see what I have rolling here. On Muerta, I have Singularity, Bulwark, and Deadly Swamp. On Monkey King, I am currently rocking Onslaught, Fortification, and Shield of Faith. I am tinkering at this moment. These are a combination that I've decided to try and work with at this time. Not 100% how this is gonna go, but I'm gonna try it. Just put it that way. Actually, you know what? No. I'm gonna go Pyromaniac because it's not being used. I'm gonna take High Explosives off of Griffin. I'm gonna put Onslaught. Aha! I feel better about this. Okay, so we're gonna do the Pyromaniac Shield of Faith combo because Monkey King attacks very quickly, and 330,000 is not something to bat an eye at. But he attacks every 1 second, or attacks for attack speed's 1 second. Plus, he can't be controlled effect, so hopefully we can get that shield to prop many times. Have Pyromaniac go out. It's going to go really well. We have Fortification on him because we want this left behind for our Muerta, our Evil Eye, or anybody who's still in the first row. For Evil Eye, we're rocking Eldritch Horror, Landmine, and Lightning Reflexes. For Griffin, we're going to be rocking Onslaught, Tech Armor, and Soul Harvest. And then for Iron Tony, we're doing Lightning Reactor, Aqua Vitae, and Unity. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. Let's get into a fight, see if we can win. Holy crap, that was a long wait time. We have J.O. Okay. Y'all want to watch a slaughter? You're about to watch a slaughter. The reason for that, this guy's got one red perk and the rest of them are no perks at all. So this is, buddy, if you're real, if you're a real person, don't ever do this. If a real person is watching this, don't ever do this. This is fighting way above your weight class. I mean, if I was to get better at Ludus and get more comfortable with tricks and doing shenanigans, I would do something like this to see if I'd win, but I know for a fact I wouldn't. So that might be one of those friendly clan things where I invite viewers or something to fight me in clan duels, and we don't use any perks at all. We just go back to the old-fashioned way of fighting in Ludus, which was just levels. That's actually a pretty solid idea. I might do that one day, if I can ever figure out how to go live. So, the way I'm looking at my new lineup is I'm having fun now instead of really chasing anything. Once Astral Rift dies off, it's going to be a lot harder to want to play because there's nothing really to grind for at that time. I'll hop on, I'll do my dailies and everything like that and find new lineups. But Astral Rift week is really the only week to do anything in Ludus and see a return. So I don't like climbing the ladder anymore because the ladder is still jacked up and I'm really sick and tired of getting my hopes and dreams dashed. And since I don't have many red perks, it's hard for me to stay in top 100. So what's the point? You know what I mean? But, yeah, I don't know where I was going with all that. I got lost in the eyes of Monkey King. Sitting here staring at him, trying to figure out where I was going to put him. Okay, well, we've got Singularity set up in a nice spot. We're going to move that, though. We have Landmine right where we need it to go. I don't have a single super right at this moment, and I am just making this guy's life more difficult. No supers. Like, you should have already taken me out. That's okay, we're just building. So, ultimately, how I'm looking at this is I'm going to put Singularity here. Either A or B, far left or far right, because Landmine is tap dead center. And that's great. Now, if Landmine was not tap dead center, we would be considering other options. Now he's dead. We would be considering other options and moving our way around the board. But that's not the case. We got lucky. So Landmine being tap dead center is where you want it to be. You want it to be center of the first or the second or third row. You don't want it on the first row. If you have it over here, say you have it in this slot where my cursor's at, I hope you can see that. If that's here, you're taking out this 3x3 area. So go and put it up against the wall over here if you need to for your second one. That way you're taking out a giant section. I made the mistake for the longest time of putting it next to each other. Don't do that. Separate it. So where this Monkey King's at here and this Griffin's at, that's good placements. If Landmine's right here like it is currently, go to where this Muerta or this Tony is. It'll work out a whole hell of a lot better for you. Like I said, I don't know everything about this game. I'm still learning. I'm still finding out new strategies and stuff like that. I'm learning from my teammates. I'm learning from my viewers, stuff like that. I'm still learning some tricks I didn't even think of. So don't be discouraged if you feel like you're not learning quickly enough. The game changes on a weekly basis. It changes with each new perk, each new card. The landscape constantly changes, but stays the same, if that makes sense. You're done, son. Luckily, he got us down to 2 hearts. There are certain times where that happens. He just got supered a lot faster than we did. That's the reason for that. So it had nothing to, I want to make this abundantly clear. It had nothing to do with the fact that he has no perks. If he had perks on all of these, we probably would have lost because of the fact that we didn't get supered before him. This game is about speed. It is about getting your supers together as quickly as possible and wiping out your opponent as quickly as possible. The longer the games go, the more 50-50 it becomes. I hope that made sense. I was just watching the action for a minute. I got distracted. So now we have our perfect setup. The perfect setup being that no matter what they put on this line here, or this column here, or this column here, is going to get taken out by Singularity being on Muerta. And everything in this 3x3 section is getting dropped by Landmine. Basically, Monkey King, Griffin, and Tony are for cleanup now. They're our cleanup crew. Our janitorial staff, if you will. And they are to be respected for their roles because they are going to play them beautifully. Everything's dead. Everything's gone. Matter of seconds. Beautiful. I love this. When this pops up, it makes me giggle. In my eyes, this is the bots going and patting me on the head saying, I am so sorry for beating the crap out of you with our full red perk lineups. Here's a gimme. Let's go into fight number 2, see how that one goes. All right, Map KK from Vietnam, number 1. Oh, I could not think of another good lineup to explain here. Pirate Queen's a little too high, but I understand that. He worked out his perks really, really well across here. The fact that he's fighting me right now, I feel sorry, I feel bad about it, but he still holds a giant chance of winning. Epics against legendaries works relatively well. Legendaries against red perks work relatively well, but if there are far more legendaries than there are epics on the opponent's side, and you have far more epics than legendaries, you're in for an uphill battle. That is where placement really comes into play. You really want to focus on, if you're the underdog in regards to your perks, you want to pay attention to the opponent's perks. Where's that landmine going? Where's that singularity going? How can I counter these? Or what is the best course of action for me to do here? Because the main difference is percentage and stuff like that, because there's more levels on the legendaries than there are epics. And then the battle prowess. That's where that one comes in too. Battle prowess being 10 in lieu of 15 it shifts it a little bit. It doesn't shift it in your favor nearly as much. Let's just put it that way. So keep eyes there. You always want to keep eyes on your placements if you're the underdog. And I realize I'm not explaining this absolutely perfectly. It's very difficult for me to explain it perfectly because all the fights are different. You're going to go into a fight. I've fought cards that had 6 red perks to my 4 legendary perks, and I still won. But that was based off of placements. It was based off the fact that I got to super a lot quicker, and I got more supers out than what they did. So I was able to produce far more damage than they were. I had one fight, they did 110 million, I did 340 million. But that was because I was fighting against a tech golem that had armor plating, max level armor plating, and bulwark, so it took a while for him to fall, but he still fell. Wow, that Tony stuck out that fight. So just keep that in mind. That's one of the reasons why I'm not able to fully express the level of perks, because what I say here, it may be different for you and your experiences. So you may not see the same thing that I see. And I like to keep my statements kind of broad stroked, so that way you can take it with a grain of salt that it may or may not work for you. Now, he has 2 supers to my 0, so most likely he's going to take this round. If you can't keep up super to super because you're getting stonewalled or you're getting bad placements or you placed things poorly, you will come to a slot where you will lose a couple of hearts along the way, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Losing a heart means you get an extra summon. So there are some players who go with the strategy of lose for the first 2 to 3 rounds to get those extra bodies, and then they'll go and pop off, getting a whole bunch of supers in one shot and then just running roughshod over their opponent. We now have Monkey King supered, which is great. Looks like Singularity is going to be on this one, so I'm going to see what happens with the Monkey King here, because I didn't pay attention to the perks. We have our Griffin ready to go. We have our Tony ready to go. And now we're set. So what I'm going to try and do here is not Singularity. Landmine is very good in this location. So if I happen to get Evil Eye here because it doesn't fall into this slot here, I'll be trying to shift the Muerta to the center line. So, which I should do right now, but I won't. I want to see where my stuff lands up. I have a game plan. 99% of the time in this game, I have a game plan going into every single fight. And it didn't even matter. I still won. So, Monkey King for the win. Monkey King is fantastic. I love him at level 13, and I'm so happy I have him here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put Singularity in this line now, because it is the final stage. I don't feel like losing again. I want to just walk away from this fight now. So I'm going to take what I can and just rock with it. I'm not going to super out Evil Eye because I didn't get the Evil Eye, but if I had, it'll end a lot faster. God, I hope I'm not boring anybody with this. I hope this is actually informative and helping somebody. if I have 2 haters that don't like the fact that this video is almost an hour long, then, or if I have a couple people who don't like it, great. If I have more people who found this helpful than hated it, then I see that as a big win. Let's just put it that way. My energy drink has not kicked in yet. Boop, they all went bye-bye. Okay, they came back. They're ready to fight. Let's see. Yeah, you're done. You're done, son. Monkey King is doing so good. Look at him go. He's at full health. Now he's dead. Nope, now he's got the shield. Oh, there he is. He's back again. Way to go, Monkey King. Okay, so our damage dealt, we did 82.9 million to their 68.8 million. Not bad at all. They had one more super than we did. They spent more coin than we did. They broke one more rock than we did. I love the fact that that looks like a heart. That's kind of funny. That looks like a legit heart. That's weird. All right, fight number 3. Alrighty, our next opponent is Zhuoi. This is going to be a good test on whether or not my perks have worked out or work on the cards that I've put them on. The reason for that, we're basically on par with each other. I love fights like this. These are the fights that I come to Ludus for. If I could have this all the time, I would be so happy because it's a challenge. It's not going to be one-sided. It's going to be who places their cards correctly, who picks the right combat boosts, and everything else. So I'm going to go with Monkey King's ability, shocks nearby enemies for 3 seconds, reducing outgoing damage by 30% and slowing them down. That is another great thing about Monkey King. Monkey King is not, he cannot be controlled by control of pairing effects. He is phenomenal. He can't be feared. He can't be stunned. I don't think he can be leashed by Evil Eye. There's so many things. He's so good. At level 13, he's just so much better than he is at level 12 because of the fact he gets the shield. But now we've traded 1 for 1. We're looking pretty good here. Okay, so now that we have Landmine in the position that we want, we're going to hold off on these 2 for just a minute, seeing how far we can get the prowess buff before we get a super. So we're going to take them actually to tier 3. We'll go tier 3. We'll start spreading that love a little bit. Bring that there. Bring another rock. We're getting good sections here. We just need to get that landmine to trigger. Once we get that landmine to trigger, we'll be okay. We'll be starting to do damage. I love when lightning reactor goes off. It just separates everything like a pool board. Okay. Or billiards. However way you want to look at pool. Okay, so now we're running into a situation here that I don't particularly like. We have everything that we need on the board. We just don't have prowess levels the way we need them. He's already looking like he's gonna... Oh, shit. He already took Little Red to tier 4 without it being supered. Ooh, that's going to be interesting to fight. I'm going to leave it as this because I want to be able to start manipulating the board a little bit. We're going to take an L. We need to take the L. We need that extra body. We need to start bumping up the prowesses quite a bit. We need to pop off. So we're 2 for 2. Let's see if we can get this to rock out the way we want it to. Muerta being right here is really solid. She's going to get buffed quite a bit. Okay, we need... Okay. Can I manipulate this? So this goes here. That's 5. That's 7. It's 19. Let's see here. Give me just a second. I'm trying to work this out in my head. So if I go here, 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 here. Tony's now supered. We can drop this Tony. Okay, so if I go... Here, here, here. That is Monkey King supered, and we're good. We got our 2 supers. We got them in good locations. Monkey King is just going to go off. Yep, watch him work. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, now we just need 1 more copy of Evil Eye. That's all we need. We're going to get the shield for Iron Tony because that is important. I'm trying to figure out where I want to put the singularity. I've got 2 solid locations, and that's where I'm going to put it. Yeah. Okay, so the Griffin has me concerned. The Griffin is where I'm most concerned with. I think we need to wait a turn. We need to wait a turn. We really do. We need to wait a turn to see where that Griffin goes. Griffin having the max armor, max level tech armor plating is very scary. Griffin can do a lot with that max level. We took them out irregardless, so that's fantastic. But that armor being max level on him is a little bit terrifying. So we're just going to work up our Evil Eye real quick. Getting prowesses where we can. We're just going to, you know what? That's what we're going to do. We changed our plan midway through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep Muertas in these 2 locations, and hopefully I get more copies of Muerta to be able to super them both out. It looks like we're heading that right direction, so I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to let Singularity do what it does. If we lose a heart, we lose a heart. If we win, we win. But either way, we are setting ourselves up for success. We have Landmine, Tap Dead Center. We have Singularity on both sides. We're taking cards out of the game that need to be taken out of the game real quick. And then we're just letting everything do what it needs to do after that. It doesn't matter. Iron Tony for the win. Look at that. It didn't even matter. We didn't even have to get Muerta super. That is fantastic. Let's look at our damage dealt. We did 119 million to their 94.1. We spent more coin. We had 1 less super, and we broke 1 more rock. Iron Tony, though, look at those stats. 21.4 million in basic attack, 21 million in ability, 40 million damage received. He took 40 million damage, and he restored 21.9 million off of Aqua Vitae. Monkey King, however, took just a little bit more damage, but stayed on the field. Fantastic. So that's the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you found it informative. I hope you enjoyed the fights. What more can I say except for life can be fun if you allow it to be. We'll see you next time.